Hi, and welcome to Association Laboratories Looking Forward Dashboard. I'm Nikki Golden, a strategist here at Association Laboratory, and with me to walk through the dashboard is Meg Whedbee, our senior researcher. So Meg, let's talk about this. We're really excited. Usually they don't get to see the looking forward data until March, April, but this year we are bringing them the dashboard in January. Can you talk about why we moved to a dashboard?
Yeah, so Looking Forward is an annual study, and it's really intended to help people look ahead to the coming year and the near future and be able to make informed decisions. So we want to get the data in people's hands as quickly as possible. In the past, we have put out a written report, and it takes time to analyze and write up and produce and distribute that report. And we really wanted to enable people to jump into the data more quickly. So a dashboard is a good solution for that. We also, with the dashboard, are able to give people the ability to customize the data that they're looking at. So with our filtering options, it allows people to really hone in on the audiences that they're most interested in and see specifically how they anticipate things going in the coming year. So both more customizable and more quick to access.
Awesome. So where can we find this dashboard on our website?
Yeah, so from the Association Laboratory homepage, if you go to What We Do, which is up here at the top, you can see the dashboard is listed in that drop-down menu. And so now we're looking at the dashboard page. This page has some general background information about the dashboard. It's got up here in the upper right, this great big link, which will take us to the dashboard, and we'll follow that in just a minute. Below the link, there's also some written information about how to use the dashboard, which is what we're going to go over in this video. And then a couple other things on this page. We've got a link to the Looking Forward 2021 discussion guide. And this is a really great companion piece that provides you with a guide, a sample agenda, worksheets, and also some tips and advice for how to program a Zoom meeting to have these discussions with your organization. And then we also on this page have just some background information on the methodology for the survey.
Great, so let's go look at the dashboard.
Okay, so we'll click through. All right, when you first get to the dashboard, what you see here is kind of a home page with an overview of the different areas of inquiry. So in the upper left, you see the total number of responses to the survey. And then for each of these graphs that you see, these each represent kind of another page of graphs. So each of these pages you see has this explore link. And if you click through on that, it'll take you to another page that has more detailed graphs. So for instance, you can see we've got the organization type graph. If we could click explore, this takes us through to a page with all of our different demographic questions. So for each of these, you can use this arrow in the upper right to either show or hide the legend. You can also get the legend information by simply hovering over the graph. And for each of these demographic questions, these are what the filters are based on. So we have a filter for pretty much all of these different demographic questions. And you can use this arrow, back arrow in the upper left to go back to the home page. So let's dig in a little bit. You can see this graph in the upper right. It shows the top 5 issues impacting association members. So this is our environmental scan question, where we ask people to indicate what issues they expect to impact their members in the coming year. And if we click explore, we'll go through to the full graph, which shows we actually tested 61 different factors on the survey. And so this page shows the graph with all of those factors displayed. So one thing to note, on the left-hand side here, there is a slider. And this slider will change the number of responses that are shown in the graph, so the number of response options. So if we slide it up, you'll see fewer things shown in the graph. If we slide it down, it compresses it, whoop, and shows you more information on the graph. So one way that that's particularly relevant is if you were to print this graph out. You might want to only print, let's say, the top 5. So to get to the printing, if you look in the lower right here, you see there's a magnifying glass icon. And if you click that, it pulls up a version of the graph with this print icon at the bottom of the page. And so before you print, you're going to want to make sure that what's displayed on the page here is what you want printed. So you can use the slider to, oops, there we go. Use the slider to, let's say we wanted to do the top 5. There we go. So these will be the only items now that print in the graph. And then just go ahead and use the print icon to print off a PDF of that graph. To get out of here, we can use this back button in the lower left. Another thing to be aware of with the graphs is this book icon in the lower right. And this brings up the glossary. So if we click on this, you'll see the actual question text that was asked on the survey. And then for some of the graphs, we also include just some background information as a note. So that's another good way to just get a little more context about the question.
So let's talk filters. What would be a reason that somebody wants to use the filters, and can you show us how we would use the filters?
Yeah, let's go into this anticipated economic conditions page. So we'll click Explore. So here you can see how respondents expect the economy to perform in the coming year. But let's say you only wanted to see what the opinions of professional association respondents are with respect to this question. So what you would do, this is our filters pane, and you can show it or hide it. Up at the upper right here is this filters button. So if we click this, it brings up this sidebar. And you can use the arrow here to hide the sidebar. So listed here are all the different filters that you can apply. So if we just wanted to look at professional associations, we would go to organization type and click on that. And here you can see this is the sort of high level breakdown of organization types, trade or professional associations. We also have the detailed version. So this breaks it down a little further based on how we asked about it on the survey. But let's just do the high level. So we'll go to organization type and we'll click professional. And this will automatically update the graph, including only the responses of professional association respondents. And if we click out here, we can see that this number here updates. So we have 606 total responses to the survey, but 365 of those meet our criteria for being a professional association respondent. And then in addition, we can also layer filters. So let's say you wanted to see the expectations of professional association respondents from organizations with a budget of under $1 million. We could go to association annual budget and we would select all of the boxes under $1 million. And that will again automatically update the graph to show you that these are the responses of the 97 people who meet our criteria. And then if you want to get rid of filters, you can see this green arrow or green star shows you which filters are currently applied. And if you just click the little X, it will clear out that filter. So take all our filters off.
Meg, what's the difference between respondent job level and the detailed respondent job level?
Sure. So again, job level is just the high level distinction. So this is between chief staff officers and association management. It's basically everybody else. But you can also look at that by more detail. So here we have it broken down with chief staff officers, volunteer leaders, senior domain executives, etc. So if you wanted to drill down a little more, you could use the detail. If you wanted to look at the higher level, you could just use the respondent job level.
Great.
Yeah, and another thing to note, there's a couple of questions on the survey where we asked either ask the question a little bit differently or ask the response options a little bit differently, depending on whether the respondent was from a trade or professional association. And so these two questions here are an example of that. So we mentioned in the title which group answered the question. We also mentioned in the glossary that there was that distinction. But by default, the dashboard is going to show you these percentages as a percentage of all respondents to the survey, not just a percentage of trade association members. So if we wanted to just look at the percentage of trade association members who answered this question, we would use a filter for that. So go up, we will select trade associations. And now if we go down, you'll see that the professional association version of the question has disappeared because it's not relevant with the current filter that we have set. And you can also see that these percentages change. So now they represent just the percentage of trade association respondents who answered this question.
Well, it looks like there is a lot of data here to explore and play around with. I love the idea of those filters and really being able to look at it by how many members a group has, what type of organization they are, because I think that is really helpful to board members when you're kind of talking with them about something that is specific to their makeup rather than just kind of the association world as a whole. So I'm really excited for people to use this.
Yeah, there's a lot of circumstances where you'd really want to hone in on a specific group. So we hope that this flexibility is useful for people and that they are able to get a lot out of it. And we're really hoping to, that this is the beginning of a long-term project to really keep improving on this dashboard, make it more useful, more customizable, bring in more data. So we're pretty excited about what this can be.
Great. And if you are watching this and having difficulty with anything to do with the dashboard or have some further questions that you'd like to discuss, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email, you can shoot us an email at marketing@associationlaboratory.com. And we'd be happy to schedule time to talk to you about it and walk you through it in more detail. So thank you. We hope you enjoy the dashboard, using it as much as we have enjoyed putting it together, and we'll see you next time.